Black Scully on check. Got a little graphic polo on check. Welcome to another marvelous episode. I'm so grateful to talk about college football today. It's been interesting to see things that have been happening in my X feed. I still want to say Twitter. I don't know why I still want to say Twitter, but it is what it is. But I got a lot of love yesterday. And I just want to shout everybody out who showed a lot of love yesterday. Let me shout out my dog Nino first, who yesterday asked me to be on Debbie Darwin's. That's not my wheelhouse. That's not my strength. My strength is more so talking about the sport, the health of the sport, the semantics of the sport, talking about schemes, X's and O's, and players. I think Debbie, your wheelhouse has to be high school recruiting, so I appreciate Nino for that. But I also appreciate Nino for speaking up for me, because Sawyer Robinson, and rightfully so, is getting a lot of hype right now. And if you all 1% of people been watching the show for a while, you guys heard me singing Sawyer Robinson praises last season and this all season as well. And it's frustrating when people say no media outlets were talking about this. Yes, we were. That's why you're not a 1%er, because you didn't see it. People were certainly talking about Sawyer Robinson. I wasn't the only one, but I had him in my top 10 quarterbacks heading into the season. He was number 5 on the list. And some people did not like that list, but he was absolutely number 5 on the list. Shout out to Nino for defending me. Also, my dog Dante from East Coast Gridiron also defended our claim. We appreciate you, bro. Real recognize real, man. Definitely appreciate you. Also, shout out to my dog Mo, who also defended us. Like, yo, what are y'all talking about? So shout out to the people that's defending everything that we doing over here. Because we make a lot of noise, but I feel like we ain't getting our just due, but that's all right. Because sometimes it ain't about getting the credit that you feel like you deem in reserve. You gotta go get it. It ain't for nobody to give it to you. So shout out to everybody for that. Also, my dog Moon, shout out to him. Reached out to me and said phenomenal episode yesterday. So we was dealing with a little bit of a heckling situation. He said they don't know what the lever KT stands for. I said they know. And they won't unless they pull up around the neighborhood. That's the only way they'll ever learn that. But let's talk about today's docket. We got a lot to talk about today. Wonderful world of college football. I tell you, the stories just never end. If you Cameron has this line that I kind of live by. Can't get paid in the earth this big. You worthless kid. Damn, don't deserve to live. Maybe took it a little bit too far with the damn don't deserve to live. But that's something that I live by, and I say that quote because it also pertains to regular season college football. Now, if you're making content in the off season like I do, and like CFB Nation does, and there's a whole several people who do college football content 365. Like, it doesn't stop for us. And while it's a little bit more difficult to put your shows together, if you can't make content during this time of the season, you can't get paid in the earth this big. You worthless kid. Damn, don't deserve to live. Yes, if you're a creator and you can't make content in this, and you're college football content creator, you can't make content right now, you're crazy. It's so much to talk about. So into the news. Paul Feinbaum finally comes on the Arch Manning hype. Best talent we've seen since Tim Tebow is crazy. Like Johnny Manziel didn't exist. Like Cam Newton didn't exist. Joe Burrow, I guess he didn't exist either. I don't know. Colorado names Ryan Staub starting quarterback for week 3. You know what this reminds me of? I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, by the way, if you don't know that. And even though I don't watch the NFL much, I do catch all of the Buffalo Bills games. And it reminds me of two different Buffalo Bills scenarios. One scenario was in a game where backups were playing, I believe it was against the Indiana Colts. Rob Johnson lit Indiana Colts up, right? And a team that was extremely young at the time, weren't good at all, in my opinion, or my estimation. And they decided, and Rob Johnson was the guy that was playing. Well, Flutie was the guy that we all liked. But back then, if you were an undersized quarterback, it was deemed as a negative denotation. It really was deemed as a negative denotation. And, now it's kind of, we have shorter quarterbacks in the NFL. Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees was a shorter quarterback. We've seen at the collegiate level now, someone like a Thomas Castellanos or Noah Fafita, who isn't his listed height. I met him in person. He's definitely not his listed height. And then they decide, well, we're gonna get smart and we're gonna start Rob Johnson versus the Tennessee Titans, and that was the Music City Miracle game. That's what this reminds me of. Just at a far worse pace. Doug Flutie had deserved to start in that playoff game. And I feel like for many years, Buffalo Bills fans were dealing with the curse of Doug Flutie. Also, another moment. Sean McDermott, the coach that I respect and admire. He had a blunder. Everybody has a blunder every now and then. He decides that Tyrod Taylor isn't doing enough for the offense, isn't pushing the ball down the field enough, a little bit too protective of the ball. Tyrod Taylor, and I think he'd admit this, got a little bit better at it later in his career. He has to see the player open before he throws the ball. He's not a throw it open type of guy because he doesn't like to turn the ball over. That's who Tyrod Taylor is. Nathan Peterman, I think, played pretty decently in some mop-up duty one day, and then Sean McDermott decided, hey, we're going to start Nathan Peterman. Then the Nathan Peterman game happened, where the captains and the people that Sean McDermott respected on the team, like, hey, yo, you need to put Tyrod Taylor back in here. We actually have a chance to go to the playoffs. That's what happened. That's what Colorado starting Ryan Staub reminds me of. Because did he play well last week? Absolutely. Was it in mop-up duty? Absolutely. So what are you telling your fan base? What are you telling your donors? What are you telling your boosters? Granted, Ryan Staub, I'm sure, I think he's been with the program for a couple of seasons now. I'm sure he puts in an immense amount of work. I'm sure the coaches love the work ethic that he has and wish that they had more players like Ryan Staub. So I feel like, hey, he deserves his chance. Let's get this young man a chance. Alrighty. But you decided to go to Katin Houser out of the transfer portal from Liberty, who has not looked good. I don't sugarcoat nothing on this show. Katin Houser hasn't looked good. I've seen him when he played outstanding. He has not looked good. He looked like he's confused. And when I say confused, he's super athletic quarterback, has the capability of, when he's hot, he's streaky, and he can throw a bunch of completions in a row. He just looks like he's just like standing in the pocket, like his natural inclination as a quarterback for him. He's gonna, go through two progressions and he's taking off. That's what he did at Liberty. But now I feel like, Pat Shermer and Dion want him to be something he's not. And I don't think that's what they truly want. I think they just want him to, hey, even though you're on a move, just keep your eyes down the field. I think he's doing it too much. But what do you say? What type of message are you sending to Julian Lewis? Your 5-star that you brought in, and I know he brought into the system. It's just interesting. Even though we just talking about onto the docket, those are some of the things that are on my mind as it pertains to this news. Updated Heisman odds, of course. That's my material. Dante Moore, my boy Nino said he would win a Heisman a couple weeks before the season started. I thought he was tripping. He's looking good. Well, Will Stein and Dan Lannon is doing out there in Eugene is working 100%. Big 12 benches officiating cool after border war blunder. As they should have been. Oklahoma rises in college football playoff tiers. Notre Dame is on thin ice. I think if Notre Dame loses at home to Texas A&M this weekend, they may be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Now, fan base in South Bend, hear me out. You guys don't have a conference championship. And even though the format has been changed a little bit, you guys with 2 losses, no championship game versus a team that's coming out of the ACC, Big 12, or SEC that does have the championship game. And even if they have one more loss than you, I think that merits them to be in the playoff. Especially if it's a common opponent like Miami, whom you already lost to. Or Texas A&M, whom, if you do lose this weekend, you've already lost to. Oklahoma rises in college football playoff tiers, as they should. They look really good. They look really good. A lot of what we were saying here. Also, my dog Moon and Boomer, who's down there in Norman. Well, he just graduated from there. He no longer lives in the city, but we're singing praises about Ben Arbuckle and John Material all off season, and you get happy when as a media personality, you do your research, you put copious amounts of time. Hopefully you got somebody that's close to the program that can give you insider information, and you trust that information as you start to develop your takes and how you feel about a team. It's good when it works in your way. It's also good when it doesn't work in your way. What went wrong in your research, right? That's the type of person I'm in when it comes to college football content. Playoff bubble watch, USF. Agreed, Iowa State, Notre Dame is in the mix as well. So that's what we're going to talk about for our Into the News segment. For our Governor React segment, we got CFB Nation, top 25. Love it that we have a poll now. I think this poll is going to be a staple, especially what's going on with AP. AP poll, you got some explaining to do. You got some explaining to do, AP poll. What the heck is going on? Oh, we got a surprise segment. We also want to talk about that as well. And viewer discretion is advised, as always, right? Governor's ruling, Chapel Hill versus Foxborough. Bill Belichick, Lions Patriots scouts from UNC. Is he protecting his pride or his players' futures? That's something that I want to look at the governor ruling. What's truly going on with this? And then around the nation, we're going to look at the American Conference Outlook. The American is the conference that I am closest with. It's the conference I feel like that will give CFB Nation anything we ask for. And I truly appreciate the Americans. So, yeah, I just wanted to do an American Outlook. Let's see what that conference looks. And I've said it before the season started. I believe that this is the best G5 conference, but now it's starting to enter the conversation. Even when the Pac-12 joins the G6 ranks, they won't be a power conference. When they join the G6 ranks, are they still the best? I think that's another discussion we're going to have as well. Governor College Football, hashtag CFB, CFB Nation, your only college football destination. Let's get it. Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ
Great defensive minds. They have to be better on that side of the ball. Alrighty, so before we get into the news screen, I wanted to start off with this Haley Sawyer situation and the AP poll blunder. So I learned something a long time ago working in the fast casual business. I won't say what company it's for, but if you watched this show before, you'll have an idea of at least one of the two, or you know me, you have an idea of at least one of the two. And I heard this great statement. You got three types of people in this world. Ones who wait and hope for things to happen. They just think things are just going to magically happen without the action behind it. You got the people that like to make excuses. And you got the people that blame others. So those were the three categories. I'm like, hey, there's got to be a fourth one. Because not everybody falls into those other three, right, quadrants, right? The other one that I believe it is, you're last of a dime breed. You don't wait and hope. You don't make excuses. You're accountable for your actions, and you don't blame others. You figure out a solution, right? So I always loved that saying. I just always felt like it was missing a piece of the puzzle because everybody doesn't wait and hope. Well, has there been times in my life I waited and hoped for things to happen? Absolutely. In that season now? Absolutely not. Blame others, that's never really been my thing. I'm accountable, bro. I'm accountable for myself and I'm accountable for other people. I think the only time I've ever done that is in the spirit of, not post-game, but in the spirit of competition. Like, if we are playing, let's say we're playing a cover 2 zone, right? I'm sitting like in a cloud flat at the cornerback position. If the safety didn't get over quickly enough, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That's probably like this sense of blaming others that I do. But that ain't really how I get down. Anybody that know me, I don't really get down like that. I don't really mind other people's business. I stay to myself, right? And he, what was it? Make excuses, blame others. Yeah, I'm not in that season now. Once in my life, have I done one of the three? Absolutely. Of all of the three, probably at some point in my life, absolutely. Am I in that season now? Absolutely not. I protect my energy at all costs. Anybody that know me knows that. I have an extensive block list on my phone that is quite incredible. It isn't. I promise you, it's incredible, man. I am about my peace. There's just certain things as an individual I have to do every day. The first thing I do when I wake up every morning is make my bed. Second thing after that is pray. And then after that, I get my day started. I wake up early every day. I don't care what time I went to bed. When that 3:45 alarm goes off, I need to be up. That's the type of person I am, and I'm going to always be that way. And I said that to say this. I think in this response for the criticism that Haley Sawyer has received, I think at some point in this video, you will see her make excuses. I think, and we have the video, and I'm going to play the video for you. I think at some point, we're going to see her not blame others, but try to bring others into the situation when others didn't make that mistake. And then I'm surprised she didn't get more because I seen her poll post week 1 and Texas didn't move much. So I was surprised by that. But, and I don't know if she's waiting and hoping for help. But when I tell you, AP poll, this is a L. This is an L. So you guys can see me do something I typically don't do. I'm going to play the video. I'm going to listen to it. I may even play it twice so you guys who haven't heard it can hear it. And you guys get to hear her side of the story. So pretty much if you haven't heard, after Florida lost to USF, they went up 2 spots in our poll. That can't happen. USF wasn't in the top 25. Hey, takes a choice. Granted, it is 62 voters or 61 other voters. But, for something that's such a prestigious spot, in my opinion, to be to get polled for anything is important. I deem it as important. I get polled in the Big 12. I get polled in the ACC. I hold that near and dear to my heart. I do research before I do it. That's not something you play with at all. Danny Cannell, Hey, bro, you was just getting on my good side, brother. You've had some great takes. I think you've been doing phenomenally this year, bro. Don't be out here super saving and you know what. The show is rated for everyone, so I'm not going to say it. But you out here super saving, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because a spot that this prestigious, no. You have to be held accountable for these. And I'm glad that they post all 62 voters on the AP website. So we're going to listen to this together and put my headphones on so I can hear it as you hear it. And you guys make your own assumptions because I don't want y'all to just listen to me. I want you to hear it for yourself. So I'm going to put my headphones on.
But as far as what my votes are and what my process is, I wake up early in the morning after covering a game late in the night before. Don't want to go too much into my progress or process or logic, but I will say I appreciate everybody's interaction on social media and all of your feedback. There's tons of people that vote on the AP poll, and it's not a perfect system, but at the end of the day, no matter who you pick, it does even out because there's so many people who vote. And like I said, it's really fun for discussion. It doesn't probably matter in the end, but I'm glad that people are having a really good time with it.
Alrighty, so that was her explaining everything that happened. That hey, she goes to games. Sometimes she's out, late and gotta, get up early. Some of the other things or verbiage she utilized was the fact that hey, there's other voters, so there's balance. I don't know. I think what should have happened is hey, I assume Florida won, and that's my apologies. It's an embarrassment because it's an embarrassment either way. You got one of those things where I'm going to explain it the only way that I can explain it. I am a hip hop head. I don't know if I've told you guys on the show before that, but I am 1,000% a hip hop head. I love lyricism. Absolutely love lyricism. So do I listen to a lot of the Lord this person, the young that person? No. Because if you don't got lyrics, I don't want to hear it. I don't care how great your beat is. I don't care if you're using copious amounts of auto-tune. I don't care. I will not listen to it. Turn that trash off. My cousin Chris, that's my dog. He listens to a lot of trash music that I wouldn't listen to. And he probably think my music is trash. But I just couldn't listen to it to the little whoever's and the young whatevers. Growing up, my favorite rapper was Jay-Z. Because I thought, his ability to use double entendres and triple entendres, I just thought it was amazing. And how creative he was. And that, sometimes you'll have to listen to a song 3 or 4 times to catch what he's saying. There's verses I'm still catching now because thank God for Memphis Bleak for explaining some of his verses, right? And you're like, oh, that's what he meant because I took it as something else. But that's what he meant. And in the midst of, I'm loyal. I think I told you guys that. Growing up, I love Ray Allen, love Allen Iverson, but when they played each other, I was with Ray Allen. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Ray Allen, my all-time favorite basketball player. I'm just kind of trying to give you guys backstory before I get to the original point. So Jay-Z, my favorite rapper. Let's establish that. Now, that it's kind of still the same, but I listen to a lot more Nas now. But believe it or not, I did not listen to Nas while they were beefing. I just didn't. I would listen to the diss songs and I listen to them back to back to figure out who won. And I always thought Jay-Z won. I know now we use the verbiage like you got Moss. That means somebody just caught a pass over you. We use the verbiage you got ethered. But Jay-Z, in my opinion, and I'll still say this, Jay-Z won it because if you listen to Takeover, he was saying real stuff about Nas. And that's why I always thought that he had won the battle. But I said that to say this. Now I'm about to take it full circle because I know y'all like, Governor, where you going at? 50 Cent, Elite Troll, right? Now remember the wave that 50 Cent, when 50 Cent dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, I mean, it took every teenager by storm and even people in their 20s and 30s by storm. He had the game in a chokehold like I'd never seen. And there was a time he was going against Ja Rule. I think Ja Rule would have still had his, and not that his legacy is tarnished now, if he never released the song Clap Back. If he said nothing, I think 50 Cent would have just moved on to the next person. And because 50 Cent kind of stole Ja Rule's style, if we want to be real. And if, Ja Rule just said nothing and let it be, because Clap Back, the song that he dropped, was weak, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was laughing at it. It's like, oh, nah, Ja Rule a clown. And it hurt his sales. But if he ignored them and let it be, he'd have kept being able to do what he do. And that's where I wanted to say to Haley Sawyer, if she happens to see this segment, I think she'd have did more by saying nothing. Because the way she addressed it, I think she addressed it in a way that I don't think she meant it as a flex, but it was kind of a flex. Hey, I'm at games late. You know what I'm saying? I wake up early. I didn't kind of know where she was going with that. Hey, there's 61 over voters. We don't care. Your vote matters. The rest of us, the millions of college football fans that are out there who would love to be in your shoes, it's disrespectful to the sport. And then not to hold yourself accountable about it, that's bad. That's bad. That's so bad. It doesn't get worse than this. So not only do you not have USF in your top 25, I think every publication that I've seen have had, after 2 back-to-back top 25 victories, you deserve to be a top 25 team. She didn't have USF in the top 25. And then Florida went up 2 spots. How do you lose and move up 2 spots in any poll? Someone please make it make sense. Danny Cannell, stop super saving, bro. Please. Now back to regularly scheduled programming. I hope I explained that in a way that made sense to each and everybody. If you're just catching and wondering why the governor's talking about hip-hop, I love hip-hop. I have to relate things in that way. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and move into the news segment. All right, so into the news. I kind of went over some of these stories. I'll go over them, a little bit again. I always try to give you guys a quick tease on the opening. It's actually called a cold opening. It's called a cold open. That's the phrase for it when you go from not being live to live via instrument talking. It's called a cold open. Before intro or anything like that, I played the cold open and then played the intro. So Paul Feinbaum comes to breaks on Arch Manning hype. So following 2 so weeks, Feinbaum is pulling back on some of the Arch Manning hype, calling his early play pedestrian. I don't know what's going on. Something weird is happening in Austin. And it's one of those weird things that you know it, you can't quite put your finger on it, but something's not right. You guys ever been like outside or at a mall and you see a family like, yo, something ain't right with that family. It's something we don't know about. Like they do witchcraft or something like we don't know, but you can just sometimes just tell something ain't right. And I look at what's going on in Austin right now. I said, something isn't right. Like Steve Sarkisian, how defensive he got with the reporter. Like, oh, where'd you get that information from? Right? Yo, don't patronize me. I think that's why certain environments I can't be in. And that's why, when it comes down to knocking down doors, D now and Moon are much more suited for me. Much more suited than me for those instances. They just are. I think their patience is better than mine. I don't think people know truly how wired I am. I thank God for parents. And my parents have been phenomenal. My village is phenomenal. The accountability is phenomenal. Growing up where I grew up at, the OGs I had were phenomenal. But I'm still wired. I don't think people understand it. Like, if you've been around me enough, like, Moon understands it. Because me and him have exchanged words before. And I don't think he minds me saying that. But, I think that's what great business are. That's what great partnerships are. You're not going to always see eye to eye. And I prefer to be out there in the open. But it was the defense mechanism that Steve Sarkisian was using there. Like, clearly he was grimacing when he threw the ball. Clearly. Like, no debate, as my guy Goods would say. Clearly he was grimacing when he threw the ball. 2 weeks in a row. Same type of throw. Not quite. It's kind of over the shoulder. I kind of look at it as a 3/4 throw. But he was grimacing. There's something going on. There just has to be. Because that same look ended in a short hop throw. Back-to-back weeks. So if he isn't injured, then what in the heck is going on? Make it make sense, Steve Sarkisian. You're one of the greatest minds in all of college football. I respect your ability to coach. I have a copy of your playbook, and I'm sure it's even... I have over 25 or 30 playbooks. Collegiate level, NFL level, the most organized one I've ever seen is Bruce Arians. His playbook was so organized. Same thing, Rich Rod's playbook was really organized as well, but I was able to pick up on the verbiage really fast. Once you understand one system, like I understand an air raid, once you understand one system, it's easier to pick up on other systems. It's not easy to pick up Steve Sarkisian's system. Just because the amount of verbiage he has within a play, and then one RPO play can have 75% of the same verbiage, but something different is happening. So I do got to revisit it. I'll try to do that in the off season. That's one of my favorite pastimes when I'm missing college football. Hey, let's download somebody's playbook and learn it. Like, I don't know. That's just how I'm wired. So I'm just going to figure out what's going on in Austin. They won last week. Yeah, they won, 38-7, I believe it was. I still have extremely high expectations for this team. I still have extremely high expectations for Arch Manning. And you see a lot of NFL coaches do it where they'll kind of, not tell the truth or tell the white lies, people would say, about the injury and the injury report, or how like Tom Brady was on Bill Belichick's injury report for years. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Colorado will start Ryan's, start week 3. I told you guys my sentiments about it. It reminded me of two, in a different parallel universe, I guess. Two Buffalo Bills situation with Tyrod Taylor, Nathan Peterman, and Rob Johnson and Doug Philly. It remind me of both of those situations. But, maybe he'll come out there and he'll play electric. It's just what type of message are you sending to, hopeful recruits or people in a portal? Like, hey, like the guy, we thought the quarterback battle was between these two guys, but by week 3, Ryan Staub is the starting quarterback. After how he played in mock duty. It's interesting. All right. Dion, you know that... There's a lot of people that don't like you, bro. It is what it is. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Super fan of Prime Time. I've always been emulating him. Bandana under the helmet, yes. I wish I knew it stains the inside of your helmet. If you know. I used to wear the bandana just like Dion, but it'll stain it because it could dye in that joint. I remember my mom having to use like fingernail polish remover to take the thing outside of the helmet. A lot of us emulated him. We wanted to play like him. A lot of us had the one chin strap hanging down like Dion did. Like, we wanted to be Dion, so a lot of us like support you from that element. My dad likes college football. He gets more into it as if Dallas having a bad season. He's asked me about this player, asked me about that player. But for me, my love for football comes from my dad. He's an encyclopedia. Like he'll tell you Dallas Cowboys scores from the 70s, bro. And I'm just fascinated with it. I'm like, yo, that's incredible. I don't remember Bill scores from a year ago. You know what I'm saying? That's incredible to me. But, I think Colorado brought a lot of us together who've been Dion fans for years. Like, my dad called me, and, every game he was calling me. My brother Weez was calling me. Because my Weez know NBA like how I know college football. But they would be calling me out there big play for Colorado. I know Jalen and his father bonded over Colorado. Colorado in our community means a lot to us, and we hold them in high regard. But at the same time, I think I have to talk with a great deal of transparency. This scares me, Dion. It really does. I pray it works out. I hope it does. But if you guys go out there, you're playing a really good Willie Fritz coach team. And a guy Connor Wegman who got a chip on his shoulder, the size of Alaska. Be careful. You guys lose by 2 games. You guys get behind the sticks, bro. You're not omitted from being fired, brother. Yes, you bring a lot of money to the university. You brought a lot of money, a lot of swag to the athletic department. I'm sure the partnerships that they have with various brands, across the country won't happen without you. But you aren't omitted from being fired, brother. So this has to work. I know you guys are putting in the work. I have seen a more physical team than I have the past 3, in total 3 years, but the past 2 seasons at Colorado, I've seen some physicality. I've seen you guys go toe-to-toe with a really physical Georgia Tech team. So I think you guys are ahead of schedule, absolutely, but this type of news scares me. But hopefully he has a great game. But if he doesn't, people will start talking. When those boosters and those donors start talking, and then we figure out how much your buyout is, that's when you should get word. Really. So, on 3 releases, updated Heisman odds. Bet MGMs. I'm sorry, they released their updated, Heisman odds. Garrett Nussmeier leads at plus 650, followed by John Mateer, Oklahoma, who's having an outstanding season. I don't think things in Norman could be better. To get a flash of offense that they haven't seen in Norman, in a few seasons, that has to be incredible. And Dante Moore at Oregon is really lighting it up. I am disappointed in the platforms that don't have Sawyer Robinson up there. I really am, but I get it because you guys probably don't think Baylor have a better record than 4 or 7-5. I get that. I think they finished 9-3, 10-2. Now I think that's still good enough to get them in a Big 12 championship just because of the cannibalization. And think about it, Arizona State already have a loss, and Arizona's going to be better than advertised. It's Credential Wednesday. Get some credentials in my inbox today to figure out where I'm going this week. Not quite certain, but it'll be interesting. So Big 12 acts as officiating crew after rules blunder. The league pulled an officiating crew from its upcoming games following a botched ruling in Missouri's win over Kansas. And these freshmen are human. They really are. But sometimes when things happen, you need to be suspended. That was a message for AP. When things happen, sometimes people need to be suspended. And I don't think she should be banned as a voter, but there needs to be some type of sanctions for it. Did AP even release anything on the story? I mean, such a prestigious poll, right? You know, a lot of us in the media, we'll clown it here and there. That's our duty. That's our responsibility, right? But, you know, at the same time, it's such a prestigious honor to be able to vote in the AP poll, top 25. It is the poll. Yes, we respect the coaches' polls and other polls that are out there. But at the end of the day, I think, you know, AP poll is creme de la creme. You know, and of course, you know, it's very various media polls you may like. CFB Nation got the best one, of course. Of course, I'm going to say that. But, you know, end of the day, something has to be done about it. You think, like, so I do the calculation for the CFB Nation poll. Don't think for 1 minute I don't look at everybody's poll. If I see something crazy, I'm removing your poll. It is what it is. It ain't personal. Good luck. Try again next time if there is. It is what it is. All right, CBS projects Oklahoma. Only time I won't do it is in the preseason. Because everybody does their research, everybody's sharing intel. I won't do that in the preseason, of course. But, you know, once we start seeing games played and somebody did what they did and Florida moves up 2 spots on your poll, now your poll ain't being a part of it. Go delete yours and we'll do these calculations with everybody else's. So, at the end of the day, while we can sit here and continue to talk about, you know, Haley Sawyer, at the end of the day, where's quality assurance? Who oversees this? Who allowed this to happen? Because it should have been you know, I know this is probably not typical where they check everybody's polls. They've been doing it for such a long time, but there should have been a... Hey, Haley, good morning. Sorry to bother you, but did you realize you moved Florida up 2 spots? Were you aware that they were USF? Okay. Yeah, USF just beat 2 top 25 teams. They should probably be in your top 25 teams, too. All right. You have a good day. Would have been 61 voters instead of 62 voters this past week. Right? There has to be accountability. So, I forgot to mention that during that segment that, hey, we can sit here and put the finger at Haley Sawyer, you know, the entire time, but also, AP poll got a hold of this too. There was no Overwatch. All right? So, CBS projects Oklahoma rising power tiered after Michigan, and it should be. 24-13, it was a game that had the biggest billing, you know, for this past week, even though it wasn't the best game of the week. I could have predicted that. I kind of told you guys there were some other games that they had, you know, an opportunity to go with. I think I did that episode at the beginning of last week, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember which game. We live 5 days a week. That's all I know. But yeah, Oklahoma, I think it's legit. We got to see how they fare in SEC play. Health is important if they can continue to stay healthy and continue to chop at the bit. One thing I know is that Brent Venables going to have that defense playing lights out. And if Ben Arbuckle and John Matera can continue to put up points while minimizing turnovers, making sure that thing that I always like to say, they drive a turnover in the kick, whether it's a punt, point after touchdown or a field goal. That's how these drives should be ending. On threes, Bubble Watch. USF has entered the chat, of course. I would say it's phenomenal. Notre Dame amongst college football playoff path talk. I said it this week, and some people probably going to think I jumped the gun. But I believe if Notre Dame, it's a must-win game. Every game that Notre Dame plays for the duration of the season, now they'll come apart in the season where they have a little wiggle room. But if they start off 0-2, losing at home to Texas A&M, who is really an upstart team in my opinion, in my estimation. If they lose their game, they're mathematically eliminated from the playoff. Like I said, I know fans of South Bend don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. And I know your brother's going to be, well, hold on now. Strength for schedule shouldn't matter. We lost to Miami. They were in the top 25. And if they lose this game, we lost to Texas A&M. We're there in the top 25. You don't play a conference championship, buddy. They do. Might not like it. It is what it is. But that's our answer to the news segment brought to you by the good folks of Bull Rush. Shout out to them. We're going to move on to this next segment. Governor reacts. We're going to react to something. Alrighty, so right now I have both the CFB Nation official top 25 and the AP poll top 25. And interesting things I see here on both fronts. There's some things I like in the AP poll. A lot of things I like in the CFB Nation poll. Some things I don't like in the CFB Nation poll, but it's how it is, you know. Especially when you have, the people inside of your company voting and also your friends. and the business voting as well. I think sometimes you'll get a balanced poll. And the thing that I like about this week in and week out, it'll slowly start to work itself out. It really will. So I'll go ahead and go over the top 25, and then I'll give my, how I feel about it, and then we'll also compare and contrast. And you all can do that in the comment section as well. So starting at number 25, one thing I don't like about the AP poll. Why isn't Louisville in the top 25? Have I not been saying this for weeks? Like, what should I be with Louisville AP poll? I was about to say it, but I didn't say it. I'm going to leave it alone. Auburn coming in at number 25, took care of business early. We need to see what this team is at doing SEC play. I like what I see so far. Hugh Freeze definitely had this team trending in the right direction. They have an immense amount of balance offensively, especially with Jackson Otto's running ability. I believe he's not going to do much to hurt you in losing the game. But his running ability will be dynamic, and I think that's a factor that a lot of people didn't count in the moment that he arrived at Auburn, Missouri. Impressive victory over Kansas. And no more victories, but Kansas really impressed me this past weekend too. But Bo Perbilla, hey man, things are looking up in Columbia. Maybe a year earlier. A lot of us were projecting that, hey, Missouri can be a fringe college football playoff team last season. We might have been a year early. I'm not saying that'll happen this year. I'm not saying that any stretch of imagination, but can it happen? Absolutely. We'll continue to play this way. Back and forth, high scoring, dynamic running game, and it isn't just a Ahmad Hardy. I'm going to let you guys know that now. If you haven't seen them play yet, yes, Missouri is pretty good. Make sure you guys get a chance to see them play. Number 23, Louisville. You see, I still got Louisville in it. They're efficient. 8 home games this season, only played 4 road games. You guys know how I feel about Miller Moss. Know how I feel about the wide receiver core there. Running backs, Isaac Brown and Duke Watson. Really efficient. This team's not going to do much. And then, you got a coach in Jeff Brown, who's just a disciplined guy. His approach to the game is discipline. The expectations he has for Stafford begin with discipline. The expectations that he has for the players begin and with discipline. You guys don't believe that? I mean, you see how quick Purdue fall off after he left. West Lafayette, right? It's something to think about. I really like that. Louisville's in our top 25. South Florida, back-to-back top 25 wins. I said this the other day. I will say it again. Good news is, welcome to the national stage, South Florida. The bad news is, guess who else is on the national stage? Your head coach. And other teams who are going to be looking for a new head coach in a couple of months, they're going to be looking at him too. Utah coming in at number 21. Devin Dampier is playing out of his mind. They look like the Utah we remember when they were in the Pac-12. Not sure what we saw last year. I think a lot of that was much to do with injuries. And, Cam Rising, I think, you were hopeful that, hey, this is last season ago, and that he would dominate. It's an adjustment when you conference and go to a new conference. Some teams figure it out quickly, like Arizona State did a season ago, or like, Oregon did a season ago. And like they're doing now, to be honest with you. Texas Tech is extremely sneaky. Extremely sneaky. With the money that they spend on defense, but they continue to impress me on offense. Baron Morton. There's so many good quarterbacks in college football in today's day and time. Because there's quarterbacks that don't get a lot of variety. That don't get talked about a lot. Like, Katin Houser had a horrible week one. Phenomenal week this past week. There's just a lot of quarterbacks at all levels. And I just think it's because, when we were growing up and playing football, I rarely see anybody do. I'm going to take that back. Unless their dad was working with them and knew a little bit about something. You said I got super echo? Let me see what's going on. Thank you. Let me see what's going on in my settings. Let me see. Thank you. I appreciate that post game. Y'all don't know what's going on. I know I had super echo, everybody. My apologies. It's the right microphone. Let me listen to the video real quick. My apologies, y'all. Let's see here. Whoa. Super echo. Let's see what's going on. My fault. Y'all gonna really hear echo now. See if I can rewind this back. I'm not hearing that, brother. I'm not hearing it, brother. So I'm not sure what it is. Oh, I see it now. Sorry about that. We should be good now. Now I see what it is. Okay, sorry about that. But I don't even know where I was just at. What my point was, or who I was just talking about. Texas Tech. That's where we were at. And we were talking about the wealth of quarterbacks at this level, because when I was growing up and we were playing football, nobody ever did like one-on-one workouts, especially at the youth level. You know, as you start to get, make a name for yourself, maybe at the high school level, I did have them for basketball. So I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't have one-on-one workouts. Didn't have them for football. For basketball, I did. I was illegally recruited out of middle school for basketball. I did have basketball workouts with a high school assistant coach. I did. Them joints was intense. So, but that was rare though. It was rare. But now you're seeing these guys like in quarterback camps. I know a ninth grader now that nobody knows, but I know him because I know his dad, and I think he'll end up on the main stage. He's been in quarterback camps and have one-on-one training for years now. Another one of my old, female coworkers, her son has been having one-on-one quarterback training as well. So I think now you're getting an overall better pool of quarterbacks because the nuance, and now it's the thing. Everybody got one-on-one trainers now. But yeah, I appreciate you post game for letting me know. I had the super echo. I caught what it was, and thank you. All right, where we at now? So Indiana coming in at 19. They did beat the crap out of Kennesaw State, but I need to see more out of this team. Elijah Surratt did come alive their most recent game. It'd be interesting to see where they're at. Kirk Cignetti, I trust him as a coach. I really do. I saw the job that he did in Harrisonburg, Virginia, during his time at JMU. I just need to see more out of Indiana this year. Alabama now, Paul, coming in at number 18. Easy rebound versus ULM. But, there's still a lot of questions that haven't been answered. And Kalen DeBoer, you're on the clock, brother. You really are. I haven't forgotten what I saw in Tallahassee a week ago. You go get some really tough SEC wins. Maybe some of us will forgive it. But for now, yeah, we need to see you. They could be low on this list. Ole Miss at 17. I felt iffy after that Ole Miss game. Like, Austin Simmons didn't play well, which is good. Sign of a good team when you don't play well and you still win a game. Sign of a really good team, especially versus a worthy opponent, and an opponent that beat you a year ago. Yes. So, Ole Miss, need to see a little bit more. Still trying to calibrate them. I'm just not there yet. Texas A&M coming out at 16. The belief I have in Texas A&M is out of this world. Not ready to say it on screen yet, but I do have a lot of belief in Texas A&M. Post-game, you still hearing this echo? Please let me know in the comment section. I appreciate you, brother. But yeah, Texas A&M, we're going to find out where they are. This weekend, they got to go to South Bend. Notre Dame did have 2 weeks to prepare for them, so we'll have to see what's going on. All righty, coming in at number 15, Tennessee. I've said my apologies. I feel like this is my sorry for 2025, for Tennessee, because I was very brutal with them. But they've looked good. And I'm interested to see what they look like versus Georgia. What will Gunnar Stockton look like? His first true road test as a starting quarterback. And he's got to go to Knoxville. And that fan base is going to be crazy. And guess what I'm going to be doing? If I'm not at a game Saturday, because I'll probably be going to a game Friday. That's what I'm going to be doing right there. I ain't going to be at the game. I'm going to be right there with Tennessee fans, just waiting. Oh, well. Tennessee win, I'm going to light this. It's a Dominican Republic cigar. It's not a Cuban. Put that away. I'm going to be right there with the Tennessee fans, if that's what happened. 100%. Iowa State. They're number 14. I love that. Matt Campbell, they're gritty. They're 3-0. They believe. One of the teams they did play on week 0, I like a lot of their pieces. A lot of the questions were, they lost the production at wide receiver. What would that look like? I like the kid, Hanson, at running back. And, I mean, is it time we start putting some respect on Rocco Beck's name? Message, I did have him in my top 10 quarterbacks as well heading into the season. Clemson at number 13 is too high, CFB Nation. And I'm a part of CFB Nation. I'm saying that's too high. They have looked terrible. Terrible. Horrible. And AP Poll had them at 12. That's even worse. They have not looked good. Didn't look good versus LSU. I'm still waiting for LSU offense to pop. They haven't popped yet. They better pop versus Florida or pop goes the Weasel. Like Bernie Mac say, to the Weasel go pop, right? And that's another thing. We're going to talk about LSU in a second. But Clemson, yeah, that Troy game, they look bad. We talk about 6+ quarters of struggling to put up points before that second half of that game and they started to finally figure it out. Did you buy into your own preseason hype? I mean, I'm just saying. Did you buy into your own preseason hype, Clemson? Did you think you could just, hey, we're number one in return of production. Everybody's telling us how good we are. We didn't even go to Radio Row at ACC Media Days. The Radio Row came to us. You starting to buy into that hype, didn't you? Ain't nothing given in this world of college football. It is 100, it is 1,000, 1,000,000% earned in college football. Ain't nothing given. It's earned. Every year, every team has the same opportunity to win a college football playoff championship. Every team has an opportunity to win a national championship. Now, I know you're going to say 136 teams, they all have a chance. It's not equal. 68 teams have an equal chance, maybe with the exception of, I'll say 68 teams probably have an equal chance, right? And then the top tier, G5 teams have an equal chance to make a college football playoff berth. But Clemson, you're born into your hype. Klubnik looks shaky. This is the 2022 and 2023 version of Klubnik when I talked about him looking skittish. His decision-making is the wrong verbiage. Let's rewind a little bit. He's not getting through his progressions fast enough. So, Klubnik, come on, bro. A lot of us had you tabbed for a Heisman vote. You balled out last year. Get it together. Whatever you and Garrett Riley got to do, it needs to be done. But y'all are too high. I would not have Clemson at 13. Clemson doesn't belong in the top 15 teams, in my opinion. Oklahoma at 12, I believe. It was 13 in the AP poll. So that's when you start to see some similarities. Hey, I ain't mad at it. So Oklahoma at 12. I've talked about John Material, Brent Venables, and Ben Arbuckle enough. They're good. They're really good. Number 11, Notre Dame. They were idle this past week. They got A&M this upcoming week. I already told you. They lose they may be mathematically eliminated from the college football playoff. Number 10, Illinois. This is one of my gripes with CFB Nation. It is. My brothers. I've been pounding the table about Illinois, and I know everybody not hearing me. A lot of people, I think somebody commented on the video yesterday, like, Illinois is not winning the Big Ten. Like, I'm happy for them, but they're not winning the Big Ten. I didn't say they were winning the Big Ten. I was saying they can win the Big Ten. And I mean that they absolutely can win the Big Ten. They can beat anybody in the Big Ten. And I mean that. And I second it. And I'm doubling down on it. But thank you for commenting. And thank you for watching the content. Illinois is phenomenal. I expected them to win going down in Durham. But I deemed it as a trap game. And if they lost their game, they've lost their allure. But Brett Bielema, he's coaching. That's what coaching looks like. That's what transformational coaching looks like, and not transactional coaching. This is what true coaching looks like. This is developing your players. Who do they have at wide receiver? One emerges. Thor's going to be Hudson Clement? Nah. But I'm not happy with Illinois and the AP poll being below Notre Dame. Absolutely not. Below South Carolina in our poll, CFB Nation poll. Absolutely not. I saw South Carolina play Virginia Tech. Spurs, they look good. Spurs, they did not. This past weekend versus South Carolina State, they only beat them 34-13. You got to go play Diego Pavia this upcoming weekend. So, that kid is sick. Something's wrong with Diego Pavia. He's got that Rocky syndrome. He really does. That dude, I don't know if y'all saw him on the SEC football any given Saturday when they showed him what Nick Saban said. He had this look in his eyes, like you've seen it before. Like it was almost like the Frank White in the movie New York State of Mind. Was it New York State of Mind? No, I don't think it was New York State of Mind. King of New York. My apologies. It was King of New York. And I think Christopher Walken played the role of Frank White. And the dudes on the subway was about to rob him. They had everything down. And he on that joint chilling with his girl, with a, you know what I'm saying, like a trench coat on. He just chilling. And he had this gangster look in his eyes like, I ain't about to do nothing. Tossing him money and say, meet me at the Plaza Hotel. That's the look that Diego Pavia had in his eyes when we were, on any given Saturday. They showed him a clip of what Nick Saban said. Everywhere is difficult to play in the SEC outside of Nashville. He looked at it, he said, And he just had this look in his eyes like, Nick Saban, don't you dare play with us. And like he's a sicko, bro. Dago Pavia really thinks they're the best team in Tennessee. He really does. He thinks that their team in Nashville is better than the team in Knoxville. I ain't made it up. He said it himself. I ain't say it. He said it. I know y'all think I beef with Tennessee. I kind of was at first, but, I ain't said it. Diego said it. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that, South Carolina's on upset alert this week. I put 2 teams on upset alert. One was LSU playing Florida. The other one was South Carolina playing Vandy. Watch out for these teams. I promise you. So, yes, I don't like the fact that Illinois is at 9 in the AP poll, should be above Notre Dame, and for my estimation, they should be above Texas, and I don't like they're at 10 in our poll. No. To me, they're better than South Carolina. They are. They really are. All right, so I talked about South Carolina quite a bit. They're at number 9 in our poll. South Carolina's number 11 in the AP poll. I think they're a little bit better in the AP poll, to be honest with you. Florida State's at 10 in their poll. Florida State is at, what's that, 8? Now poll, not mad at it. Miami is at 7. Who's beefing with Miami and CFB Nation, bro? It should be above Texas. Just saying. I might gotta go. Me talking about AP poll quality assurance. I gotta go do some quality assurance work. My daggone self, right? And then Georgia at 5, Oregon at 4. Oregon is look really daggone good. Penn State and LSU, every poll I've seen, they're flip-flop in some way, shape, or form. Ohio State is definitely the best team in the country. But that's the top 25. That's both of them. I wanted everybody to have an opportunity to compare and contrast. And I just think ours look a lot better. Shout out to Nino. Nino 8 with this poll. I like the fact that he don't use the same logos everybody else use. And I saw somebody say they're AI generated. No, they are not. You just don't know college football. That's all. You're a casual. You don't know that some of these logos are the old school logos that they used back in the day. And Nino's a fan of a lot of these logos. And some people say, oh, yeah, this team does it. I saw there on Twitter yesterday. Oh, yeah, they don't use this logo anymore. That's cool. I appreciate you commenting on the jump. Well, we know that. Trust me, we know that. Message. That's all I'm going to say. Let's go ahead and move on to governor ruling. Dang, bro, we have 52 minutes already. Why y'all ain't tell me? Governor, you got to hurry up. My bad. My fault. Hurry up. My bad. All right. So governor ruling, we got Chapel Hill v. Foxborough. All right. I got a lot to talk about with this segment. And I'm probably going to get long-winded. I'm probably going to go on some tangents. I'm probably going to be on a soapbox. But it's okay. You guys are the 1%ers. I got to get these shirts made, man. But yeah. So, all right. Let's go back. January 11th, 2024. That's the date that the New England Patriots and Robert Kraft decide that Bill Belichick will no longer be the coach up there in Foxborough. After being there for more than, 2 decades, 6 Super Bowl rings, and built an empire on do your job. And Tom Brady helped with a lot of that. And Tom Brady was able to win a championship after he left. And it says a lot, right? But since then, the relationship between Belichick and the Patriots, it's still rocky. To say the least, and they threw a celebration for him. They did the best that they could, but for some reason, things just aren't great between the relationship between the Kraft family, the New England Patriots, and Bill Belichick. And it has to make it, a little bit weird for the players who played at UNC. And I heard that there's a rumor that they don't even want their players who played at UNC to even have worn UNC uniforms. Allegedly, they're not going to say anything to Drake. Man, now that's the money. You don't mess with the money, do you? But then, in less than, 2 years later, this thing is bad. This is real bad. And when Belichick, shocked the football world by becoming the head coach of North Carolina, December 2024, people thought that the story would be about culture, recruiting, do your job. And people were interested to see what could he do at the collegiate level. But a lot of us in the media was like, hey, this is good for, Carolina. This is good for college football, but college football has nuance. And I know some of you guys be like, Governor, why are you always using that word nuance? What does it mean? Well, I've explained it before. And I explained it, with Matt Patricia, how wide the hashes are in college football. That's nuance. So if you're running a cover 6 and your cover 6, of course, it's going to go to the strong side. What a bunch is, you could probably cover a little bit better, but it's a little bit more intricate, covering the short side of that cover 6, right? So it's just nuance with college football. There's just things you have to deal with. You don't have to really do fundraising in the NFL. These organizations, especially in huge markets like Dallas, make copious amounts of money day in, day out. It's like hand over fist with the amount of money they make. And college football is not the same because you got to pay these players, which you didn't have to do back in the day. And then you got to do a lot of fundraising. You got to give your boosters and your donors and your fans reason to come out and support the team. The reasons, to go buy the merch, the reasons to go, when you up the money in your concession stands because you think about to have a good year this year, the reason to go still buy those same concessions that you've been paying less money for. You have to do this at the collegiate level. So when I say nuance, that's the nuance I'm talking about. So this thing has gone really sour. This is not a good look. It's not a good look for the Patriots. It's not a good look on Belichick. And I'm starting to question Belichick. Like, what is your motive, brother? Like, I don't get what you're doing. Now, me personally, I have never, ever, now I've reported news from like our Into the News segment, but I still and I've always said this, like, why y'all worried about who he dating? You know what I'm saying? As long as the person's of age, it ain't nobody business. And I've always said that, and I'll stand 10 toes on it, right? But there's been some shenanigans with that entire situation. But, like I said, not my business. They don't got nothing to do with college football. That ain't my business. Whatever you want to do. Now, I did see she was on the sideline. I don't know if she remained on the sideline during the game. She should not have been there. That's college football. They don't got nothing to do with their personal. Whatever they do behind closed doors is their business. And I'm going to stay on that side. But she shouldn't be on the field. What's she on the field for, bro? She ain't about to coach. But the fact that Bill Belichick banned Patriots scouts from Chapel Hill is a little concerning for me. And I think this thing is about to get real messy. And this was his quote after beating Charlotte 20-3. Notice how the message isn't about the game that they just had. The fact that he just got his first win as the head coach. The message, the news coming from this is, it's clear I'm not welcome at their facility, so they're not welcome at ours. What? It's clear I'm not welcome at their facility, so they're not welcome at ours. Well, Bill, what would be your point in being at their facility? You coach at the collegiate level. You don't need them for anything. There's no reason for you to even go up there. And even though you're not banned or you're not welcome there, I don't think you're banned or maybe you're not the most welcome person there. But I think sometimes people don't realize the energy that they project. Bill Belichick projects a very, he knows he's a damn good football coach. The 6 rings speaks for themselves, but he not easy to get along with. You know how I know he not easy to get along with it? Because I recognize those traits. My dad isn't easy to get along with. I'm not the easiest person to get along with. It's just who I am. I told y'all guys at the beginning of the show, I'm wired. I will swing on you, dog. That's just who I am. And anybody that knows me and has been around me, they be like, yeah, chill with him. He will punch you. Because I really will punch you. It is what it is. It ain't personal. It's just how I'm wired, right? So my thing is, if the New England Patriots got nothing to do with Foxborough, got nothing to do with you doing in Chapel Hill, why is it so important that for you to be at their facilities and now you banning scouts for being there? That can give your team, and a team that has North Carolina players on its team, they're there not for you, brother. They're there for the players. Aren't you limiting your players' opportunities? Alrighty, so this is the Patriots' response. The Patriots brass, and this is coming from Robert Kraft, to new head coach Mike Vrabel. Shout out to Mike Vrabel. They didn't look good this past weekend, but shout out to him. Cool dude. I did meet him my first and only year because I've only been there 1 year at the Senior Bowl. I should be this upcoming year. Actually, I'm not sure. I may start now that Nagy's gone, I may just start into my season at the end of the season. That's a lie. I'll still be talking college football, but I might not go to any post national championship games or post, you know what I'm saying, Pro Bowl events or whatever. But Mike Vrabel had flat out denied that the banning of Belichick. Kraft pointed out that Bill was invited back for Tom Brady's Hall of Fame. induction. I mean, my apologies, not his Hall of Fame induction. He was invited back for the, what was it they just did? I think they just made a statue for it. And Vrabel said it's petty, reminded everyone that Belichick was on stage, giving a speech in Foxborough less than a year ago. So the Patriots say you're welcome here. Belichick, of course, doesn't buy it. And the fallout is spilling and into the Tar Heels field. This is bad. This is terrible. And this is a problem for the UNC players, because some of these players aren't going to get, extra looks. But you would think, hey, maybe, Foxborough and Chapel Hill will have a connection where, they can say, hey, Bill, you got anybody that people aren't paying attention to that we could maybe, sign to our team as a UDFA or maybe take in the seventh round? That's the overwhelming thought. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the off season, even though we don't celebrate that. CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
And who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland?
All right, I'm back. My bad. I had a phone call that I had to take. But I just don't understand Belichick's motive at this point. And I got a question for everybody. And some of you guys will get it. Some of you guys will probably think I'm reaching here. Do you believe that if this season goes sour, that this can be Bill Belichick's only year in Chapel Hill? Because I think about the sport of college football, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to age discrimination or anything. College football is getting younger. The head coaches are getting younger. You can point at a myriad of them. Heck, we can go down to, Florida Atlantic and Paradise. Zach Kelly is 33 years old, and he's the head coach. Kenny Dillingham, under 40. The sport is getting younger. It's getting younger. I don't even think Dan Lannon is 40. Maybe he is. Maybe he just turned 40. But this sport is getting younger. So you go from a guy, Mac Brown, plenty of experience. He was there, came back again. Then you go to Bill Belichick, and it's just not a good look. I feel like, North Carolina wanted to build hey, we know we're a blue blood college basketball team, but we want to be respected on the gridiron. And they went and got Bill Belichick for the legitimacy because they know, hey, they're going to be players that want to play for him because they know he know what it takes to get to the next level. But now it's just starting to become about things outside of the gridiron. And I have issue with that. That's not cool. It's not cool for the Patriots, people not to be there. And y'all know in the NFL, people talk. Those circles are talking. Can you imagine the communication between Patriots and other teams at the NFL level? They banned y'all. Yeah, they don't really got no talented players anyway. That might be the sentiment. So now something that we're going to be paying attention to is how many, Tar Heel players get drafted into the NFL, draft next year. Because, the Shield is a close-knit family. They may be from time to time, but it's a very close-knit family. So don't ever forget that. So that's my spiel on that. I had a lot more to say about that, but like I said, we are running way over time, and I got stuff to take care of. So my verdict is that Bill Belichick's decision to ban the Patriots scouts from coming to Chapel Hill was the wrong move. That has nothing to do with football. And just like I say, and I've always said, your relationship has nothing to do with football. That's why I don't speak on it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, bro, your beef with them is petty. It's about these players. This move was a transactional move. It wasn't a transformational move. How does this help your players move on to the next level? Answer me that. This is stupid. Coaching at college football is about being transformational. It's about, bringing kids. Some of these kids are coming from broken environments and helping them become successful young men. Right? And there's going to also be an elite group of your kids who have the ability to play at the next level. Help them get there. That's what coaching is about at the collegiate level. This is petty, bro. Bill Belichick, you're better than this. So we're going to do a quick outlook of So we're going to do a quick outlook of the American. I wanted to spend a lot of time with this. I'm not going to be able to. I almost want to save it for tomorrow, but I can't because it's a part of my thumbnail. So the American Conference is shaping up to be one of the most fun and unpredictable leagues in college football, with 4 teams already looking like legit contenders in South Florida, Navy, Tulane, and Memphis. Watch out for Memphis. Not enough people are talking about Memphis. People are talking about Tulane because Jake Ratslav just got there. People are talking about South Florida because they have resume-building wins with two top 25 victories over the last 2 weeks. Watch out for Memphis. And there's also another upstart, Temple, KC Keeler. And to the Oklahoma Reporter, one thing I promised myself this year is that if you do something stupid, I'm gonna call you out. I don't know your name, brother. I ain't feel like researching whoever you were. But to have a hot mic and say, yeah, it's gonna be like going to a high school stadium or a high school game. I forgot the exact verbiage, bro. You a clown for that, dog. The mic was hot. You ain't know it, but there's a certain environments you shouldn't say that type of stuff, bro. Don't give a team KC Keeler and the type of coach KC Keeler is, because we've had the opportunity to sit down and talk to KC Keeler. His belief system, that's bulletin board material, bro. That's bulletin board material. And let me tell you something. Well, I got Oklahoma winning this game pretty convincingly, even though I feel like Temple is an upstart in the American Conference. Don't let Oklahoma lose this game. Because when I tell you, Temple's PR department on Twitter are going to light Oklahoma up. Do not allow that to happen. Because I promise you, it will be must-see TV. To have a hot mic and say something that's stupid is stupid. It is what it is. To have a hot mic and say that it's stupid. So let's look at South Florida, man. They're ranked number 18th in the AP poll, 2-0. 2 great wins versus Boise State, another one versus Florida. They play Miami this upcoming week. Even if they lose, even though this show is built on the ideology of no moral victories, it'll still be a resume-building thing. And then you got to look at it. Their toughest opponents will be behind them because then they play an American play, right? But Byron Brown looks healthy, and he's looking for physicality. And as a team, you should be able to win games a myriad of ways. You should be able to win the ugly games, right? The games that, this is ugly games, 16-13, how Iowa State just won. You have to have the ability to win ugly games in college football. You also need to have those games where you handle business. Boise State, we handle business, right? So, really like where they're at. Byron Brown is really lighting it up. And they're playing smart football. They're playing extremely smart football. I like what South Florida is at. Of course, they're a team to watch. Navy, 2-0. Landon Robinson, a gentleman we had the, blessed opportunity to interview, ACC Media Days. Blake Horvath, another gentleman we had the opportunity to interview at the American Media Days. My apologies. I think I said ACC. I always want to say AAC, but they took the athletic part out of the American Conference, so it's just the American Conference now. But shout out to the American. Like I said, we got some business to talk about Americans. So if y'all watching this, just hit us up, man. We got a lot of business to talk about. But Navy's look good. They look extremely good. And who is this? Yeah, I be getting. When I tell you, bro, for the amount of people who watch this show, and it's not a lot. I do stream on 3 different platforms. It's not a lot. It's definitely more on the Twitter side of things. My DMs are flooded right now. My emails are flooded. Sponsorship opportunities. A lot of them, I probably should be looking at a little bit closer to. But there's a difference between a true sponsorship deal and a brand ambassador deal. I'm a brand ambassador for CFB Nation and governor of college football. Nothing else. We'll get back to this. I got a lot of thoughts about that. Tulane 2-0. Green Wave have looked outstanding. Jake Ratslav, huge get in the portal. I'm interested to see what his turns. I really am. And Coach Summerall, he might not be there next year. He really might not be. That dude wins. He got a confidence about him, a quiet confidence. Like, you can see the way he walked. Bro got a lot of confidence. So shout out to them. And then we get a really special game this upcoming week, right? Darian Mensah got to go back at Tulane after a bad loss to Illinois. Don't let Tulane win that game. Oh, man, don't let Tulane win that game. That's going to be incredible. Memphis, 2-0. Great stat for Memphis. They're top 3 teams with the best home record since for the past decade. It's like Ohio State and another team that's up there, but Memphis is right up there. They protect their house and they travel well. Look out for Memphis. A lot of people talking about other teams. Look out for Memphis. KC Keeler, Temple has done an outstanding job. They do face Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. I do have an opportunity to go to the game. I don't know where I'm going yet. Typically by now I do know, but today's Credential Wednesday. We'll get a lot of those in our emails, and we'll figure out where we're going. But it'll be interesting to see, nonetheless, right? So, Florida Atlantic is my sneaky pick. I really like FAU a lot. Yes, they're 1-1. Yes, they got embarrassed versus Maryland. But I trust the work that Coach Kitley does. That guy is he's a grinder. Same thing with Velkamp. I was really disappointed in how he played week 1. Brought it together week 2. I think Easton Messer is up there for wide receiver, receiving yards in the American. So look out for them. They do play, I think, FIU this weekend in a Shula Bowl. Another game I'm interested in going to. Like I said, I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'll call Moon and then we'll get it figured out today. So some of the players to watch, if you haven't seen a lot of this conference, some of the players to watch, you got the Katin Houser from ECU. He does lead the conference in passing yards for 680 yards. And he'll keep ECU competitive. And then Robert Henry from UTSA, he leads the conference in rushing yards at 336 yards. Corri Milliner, UAB wide receiver, 198, wide receiver yards. UAB is 101. Trent Dilfer is coaching for his, coaching career at the moment. Byron Turner, edge from Tulsa. He leads the American Conference in sacks with 3.5 sacks. And DeMarco Ward, Memphis linebacker. He's a ball hawk linebacker. He's already got 2 interceptions on the season. Some of the key week 3 games to watch in the American Conference. We got Oklahoma at Temple. Do not lose that game, Oklahoma. You better go in there and better beat them by a lot. Don't let it be close in the fourth quarter. Do not let it be close in the fourth quarter. Because if Temple finds a way, somehow, some way, some shape, some form, Temple finds a way to win this game, oh, man. I'm telling you. I'm going to be on Twitter like these, like my vision is bad, which it is, but I can see up close. Like, I'm literally going to be on Twitter like this, just waiting to see what comes out because your mic was hot, brother. You just gave them ammunition. Memphis at Troy is going to be one of those damn good games. Damn good game. It don't get better than that. Hostile environment. Troy gave Clemson all that they can handle this past week. Memphis going to be ready to Washington State plays North Texas. Messamaker is killing it. He's absolutely killing it. So you got to watch out for him. This kid is lighting it up. And I know there was a lot of thoughts of him being a starting quarterback. He's lighting it up. And Carnan Ward plays UTSA on 3:30 p.m. USF plays at Miami. I ain't putting Miami on upset alert. At some point, this USF thing has to end, right? Maybe not. We don't know. Shula Bowl at 6 p.m. Great game. Shula Bowl is always a great game. Do get Tulane. I've talked about that. Navy at Tulsa. Navy should win comfortably. And then Akron at UAB. UAB better win that game. So the American Conference is just like one of those conferences. I propose a question to everybody. Is this the best G5 conference? Yes, it is in my estimation. Will it be the best G6 conference once Pac-12 joins the G6 ranks? I believe it will be as well. And I don't know. It's a lot to like. So, great episode today. Had a lot of fun. Sorry for the interruptions. We talked about quite a few things today, and that's why I love this great sport of college football. Tomorrow we'll be live. We'll do some game previews tomorrow. Probably spend most of the episode doing some game previews tomorrow, shouting some people out. Also, I would love to do a mailbag episode. So if you got any questions about the sport, just send me a DM. I'll see it or post it on Twitter, at me, whatever you want to do. We can have that discussion. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive in the fast. That's why college football is the greatest regular season. And until next time, you all take care. Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's
Great
CJ
defensive
on
minds.
the
They have to be better on that side of the ball.